everybody today? Good, great, amazing, wonderful. Is there anything going on with anybody's bodies I should know about that I don't know about? Not everything, just guys. I'm like, you can't tell that I'm blushing as big as I am because of the mask, but like probably beet red. Anyway. My God. Hi, welcome. Oh no, but you're here now. So I'm gonna check in with her, make sure she's doing all right, and then we will get our bodies moving. Give me 1 second. Oh, maybe, there we go. How's your body feeling today? Okay, take a second, you're all good. At least here, it's all good. We're gonna use a ball and 2 yoga blocks today. And then is there, do you have any injuries or issues or anything? Oh, I would go with one of the squishy mats. You can use a yoga mat if you prefer, but the squishy ones are just nicer on the spine. Great. All right. So welcome to Pilates All Levels. My name is Audra, and today we're going to use a ball and 2 yoga blocks. If you're at home and you don't have access to 2 yoga blocks, no problem. You could do it without the props, or for some of it, you could get a couple thick books. Or if you wanted more of a balance challenge, fold a pillow a couple times and have 2 of those. As always, don't do anything that's not right for your body. Let's go ahead and lie down, knees bent, feet flat. We can bring the ball in between our knees and 1 yoga block on each side. Right. And before we get really going, we're going to breathe for a second. So bring 1 hand onto your sternum and 1 hand onto your low ribs or upper abs. And take a second and breathe. Inhale in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Try to keep the exhale nice and slow, as if you're trying to blow up a balloon. And as you breathe, start to notice which hand is moving. So if your top hand is moving, that can indicate that maybe you're overusing your secondary respiration muscles for just relaxed breathing. In which case I would say invite that hand to be just a little bit quieter, and invite the other hand to move a tiny bit more, right? Our diaphragm, pelvic floor, both need to lower as our transverse abdominis expands on an inhale. And then exhale. On your next exhale, see if you can also tell your ribs to just gently point towards your belly button. And notice how your abs immediately start to connect just that little bit. 1 more. And now we can take our hands and bring them to the sides of our ribs, lower portion or waistline. You can have thumbs down or fingers down, it's up to you. And as you breathe, think about breathing into your palms and fingers. And then exhale away from your hands. 2 more. Last one like this. On your next exhale, we're just gently going to squeeze the ball. Think about lifting your pelvic floor and seeing if that can help you engage your abs even more. And then inhale, let everything relax. 2 more with that gentle engagement. 1 more. Good. Hold that engagement, squeeze the ball a little bit more. See if you can get just a little bit more activation. And then squeeze a little bit more for 4. Tiny little inner thigh squeezes. 3, 2, 1. Hold that, imprint your spine. So we're letting our lower back melt towards the ground, hip bones gently pull towards our face, and then rock your pelvis back to neutral. Inhale. Exhale, engage, rock, and then roll back to center. Now, if as you do this, you feel tension in your neck and shoulders, maybe don't go as far. Maybe just gently let your back melt a little bit. If you feel that your buns are trying to help, try to relax your glutes, don't go as far. Last one like this. And then rock back to center. Now, the only thing we're changing about this is now we're coming up into a chest lift. So interlace your hands behind your head, elbows come forward, shoulder blades draw down your back. Exhale, curl your collarbones forward. Think of your armpits also helping you. Now, once you get up, we're going to unwind our hips into neutral if they tucked, and then exhale, imprint. So back to neutral. So it's the exact same move. We've just changed our rib cage and head placement, right? This should feel a little different now, right? Maybe you feel your obliques a tiny bit more. We have 3. 2 more. Make sure you're imprinting on the exhale. Last one like this. And hold. Now, squeeze the ball, lift your heels, exhale, try to lift your legs to tabletop. Good. Now, you can keep your feet apart or together. Exhale, point your toes towards the ground. Your knees will move away from your face, and then squeeze the prop to bring you back. Now, you don't have to get your toes all the way to the ground. In fact, sometimes if I hold for a second before I get to that lowest point, it's more challenging on my abs rather than my quads taking over, right? So everybody's body is different. Good. Nice. 3 more. 2. Anybody not feeling their abs starting to warm up? Great, yeah. Last one. Good. Hold. Now go ahead, take one hand and press it into that same side thigh. Now I'd like that elbow nice and bent. Bring your knees close enough that you're not having to strain your neck in order to press into it. So it's a little bit of lat and oblique. Just warm, I see. And then other side. Everybody feel those muscles start to recruit a little baby bit more? Yeah. One more each side. And other side. Good. And then slowly bring your feet down. Head comes down. Bring your fingertips to the sky. Arm bones relax down into the socket. Now imagine that you have a 10-pound weight in your hands and let your arms go overhead, resisting gravity, resisting that imaginary weight, and then allow the arms to float back. Arm bones being heavy. Couple more. If you think of those arms connecting down to your pelvis, you theoretically can connect and stabilize from your lower part of your core, right? Now, if this feels good and this is where you are, fantastic. If you'd like a little bit more, take one of the blocks, bring it in between your hands, squeeze it more with your pinky finger side, kind of wrapping your shoulder blades around, closing your ribs. If you squeeze the block and actually squeeze it, you should theoretically feel your abs a little bit more, right? And then you can take the arms overhead and then squeeze the block to bring them back. If you keep your arms straight and your ribs down, you should start feeling some work. Good. How's that feeling, everyone? Good? Great. Now you can also think about the ball. So as you squeeze the block to bring it back, squeeze the ball. More exciting? Great. Same. 3 more like this. 2. Last one. Now, as the arms come up, squeeze the block, and we're just going to reach our fingertips forward, coming into a chest lift. Good. Yeah. Now you can take the block to one side, grazing your thigh. Keep squeezing it with the pinky finger side. Other side. And then up and over. If you need to, you can always put your head down in between. Good. Think about reaching your fingertips forward. Nice. Everyone feeling their abs a baby bit? Great. Now, if you'd like more challenge, you can always bring your legs up to tabletop and press into the leg as well as squeezing the block. Good. Try to keep both hips nice and heavy. Good. And then if you'd like more challenge, as you're coming through center, tap your toes down. As you come through center, the toes tap. Good. If you need to, head comes down, right? If your neck is getting tired, bring your head down in between. You can still tap. Right? 2 more each side. Last one, each side. And then head down, feet down, block to the side. Bring your fingertips back to the sky, shoulder blades relax, and then bring your arms into if you were to do a row at the gym, right? So your arms are coming to the ground, fingertips still at the sky. Now just feel what your shoulder blades are doing and what your humeral head is doing. If they're flat, amazing. If they're coming up and forward, that's fine. Just see if you can let your collarbones widen. Now using your back and shoulder muscles, back of your shoulder, push your elbows into the ground. If your ribs popped, just be aware and draw them down. Now just bring the knuckles back. So now you're in this delightful goalpost position, and see if you can push your knuckles into the ground. And then press the elbows, your fingertips will rotate back. Couple more here. Nothing crazy, just a little bit of shoulder activation. 2 more. Nancy, you doing okay? Yeah, do what feels good. Yeah. Last one. And then bring your arms out to the side in a T position. Good. So reach the fingers of one side away from you, look to the opposite hand, and then other side. And one more. Each direction. Come back to center. Press your hands into the ground to make contact. Float your legs to tabletop. Now let one hip lift while the other hip lowers. We're not going super far. Both shoulders need to stay heavy. Inhale, exhale, drag it back from your ribs. and then other side. And we hold, drag it back from your ribs. Now, if one shoulder lifts, it's not the end of the world, but it does kind of just take the connection to the floor away. And we're trying to use the floor as a prop, right? The other thing to think about is if your back is arching, right? So if it arches to get that range, see if you can close your ribs and find the obliques more than your erectors, right? Those back muscles. One more each side. Come on back, feet come down. Hands come to both yoga blocks. So if they are kind of far away, bring them a little closer to you. And then just notice where your shoulders are, right? If you're internally rotated, no problem. Flip your palms up, let yourself come into a neutral, and then from the elbow down only, either flip your palms to face each other or the ground. Now, just from the triceps, push down into the blocks. And then relax. And again, just push down into the blocks. How's that feel for everybody? Great. Good. If you feel this in your neck instead of your triceps, see if your shoulder is coming up and forward. If it is, flatten it out. Think about just the elbow straightening for muscular control, right? You're just trying to use the back of the arm to push the blocks away. One more. Now, whether your palms are facing each other or down is up to you. We're going to bridge and use that tricep activation to help us. So on your exhale, we curl our tailbone towards our face. Push down into your big toenail, press down into the block, and find your first bridge. First one never counts, we're just finding it, right? And then exhale, melt, and roll all the way down. Let's do a couple more. Exhale, curl, push, and lift. Nice, and melt, and roll. Let's do a couple more. At the top of your bridge, make sure that if your weight is on your neck or you're lifting from your armpits or you feel tension in your low back, that you are in fact sinking your sternum away from your face, letting your hips be a little lower. Back down. Everybody still using the blocks? Yeah. Two more. I may have already said that, but it was probably a lie. Good. Letting your spine melt. Good. Nice job. Julia, that looks awesome. You're welcome. And back. Last one. And come all the way down. Now all we're going to do, take our blocks, slide them under our feet. Now, make sure they're close enough that you're not like in a big internal rotation here. Good. Now this time, instead of rolling, we're still imprinting and then press into the block hip hinge. Notice how it's way more hamstring. And then come on down. That sounded like I said hamster, hamstring. So notice how it's more hamster. Good. Like, two more. Good. Still pressing into your big toenail. Good, good. You guys look awesome. Now you can stick with this, or you can take the ball out from between your knees, come up into a bridge, lift one leg, hinge down with one leg. Step the foot down. Push both feet up into the blocks. Lift the other leg. Slowly lower down. Step, lift, and slowly lower down. Good. How are those feeling? Great. I'll take your silence as amazing. Yeah. Just a couple more. Notice how your body, if you think too much about it, right, you can feel every tiny adjustment it has to make. Whereas if you just breathe, think about the ribs, the hip bones, the glutes, and just let the body move. It can sometimes stabilize itself in real time, just a little baby bit better. Last one. And all the way down. Nice. Go ahead, hug your knees in towards your chest for a second, and then you can extend your legs. Get a little hamstring stretch and bend and extend. 2 more. Last one. Good. Go ahead, bring your feet to the ground. You might have to slide the blocks away. Interlace your hands behind your head. Spiral your elbows forward. Curl forward. Now, once you've curled forward, slide one foot away from you. Good. And then slide it back. Trying to find that hamstring a little bit, right? We just lit up our hamstrings. Good. So this should help them connect just a little more with hip extension and hip flexion. Good. Now, if this is where you are, amazing. If you're like, well, I want a tiny bit more challenge, you can stick with this, but once your leg extends, think of pushing it so far away from you that it helps leverage you up. Nancy, keep your knees soft. Yeah. And then other side. Good. Yeah. Pull towards me just a little bit more from here. Yeah, beautiful. Good. Now, if this feels good and you're like, okay, more work, please. No problem. You can extend both legs and just push one away and then push the other away. Good. Keeping your knees somewhat soft, right? Because if we go from bent to hyperextended, then we're just activating our quad rather than our abs. Good. Now, if that's where you are, fantastic. Otherwise, you can bring your legs to tabletop, push one foot away, hold, and then push the other foot away to meet it before you bring the leg in. Yeah, yeah, oh yeah. I have practice. Good. Right? If as you extend that leg, you're like, oh, I feel my back. Instead, just bring the knee in first, right? No problem. You can always bring it in or switch them midair. Yeah. Good. We have 2 more. And last one. And then hug your knees in. Nice job. Yeah, it's a little surprising sometimes when we extend both of them away. Go ahead, stir your thigh bones in the socket. Let them be nice and loose. Good. And then other side or other direction. All right, so we're coming back into our chest lift. Go ahead, bring your legs to tabletop and imagine pushing them into a wall to get the back line of them kicked on just a little bit. We're going to come into a crisscross. So push one foot away, rotate towards that bent leg. Yeah, and then slowly go to the other side. Yeah. Now, much like what we just did, if you're like, you know what, today crisscross, it's too easy. You can always send the other foot out as you come through center, like a hundreds position, right? just definitely more exciting, right? Good. Couple more. Try to keep the hips nice and still, rotating from the rib cage. And 2 more. One last set. And then hug your knees in towards your chest. Nice job, you guys. Now go ahead, bring your feet to the ground. Arms to the side. And just let your knees start to go to one side, so much so that your whole body comes with it. Good. And then open your chest. Find your end range and drag your knees back. And then they can go to the other side. If your props are in the way, kick them out of the way, right? We're trying to get a little bit of movement through our spine. Good. So most of us have, tight hip flexors or hip flexors that like to pretend they're tight. Sometimes it's tension because of actual shortening of the muscle fibers, and sometimes it's tension because of weakness. They don't feel safe. So we are going to try something. So come all the way up, extend your legs, hands on your hip bones, right? You're gonna feel that neutral pelvis and then imprint your spine. Now, if you feel tension or your knees have to bend or you can't get your spine to the ground, that could indicate tight hip flexors or quads. Rock back to center. And then exhale. Imprint. And back. One more. So we're going to do a couple roll-ups. We're then going to stretch our hip flexors, and then we're going to try roll-ups again. So go ahead, bring your arms up, curl forward, let your spine imprint and roll. Good. Beautiful. Good. And then roll all the way down. Nice job. Use your breath here. Good. Last one. And then we get a little hip flexor stretch. So come to your knees. And so first, just bring one foot in front and notice what your body says, right? So just bring yourself forward and back. Just a tiny little like active hip extension. Don't worry too much about form yet. As long as it feels all right. Yeah, good. 2 more. Good. Last one. Now, before we lean forward, we're going to tuck your tailbone under. Squeeze the glute, ribs down. Good. So really sink them down like you're trying to give yourself a little hug. Okay. Now think about this front leg. It's going to start dragging you forward. Everybody feel how that quad or hip flexor immediately engages. Hang out. Couple breaths. Side note, this stretch always gives me the stress sweats every single time. Yeah, it's like I can stretch my hamstrings all day long. This, I'm like, oh. So now think about your knee. We're going to press it down and forward as if we're trying to come into hip flexion. So our hip flexor lights up. Yeah, everybody feel that? Great. We're going to hold for 5, for 4, for 3, 2, big inhale, slow exhale, just stop pressing, squeeze the glutes, see if you can get a little bit more. Good. Now think about your back foot. Push your back foot down into the ground. Now you might feel this more just in quad, yeah? Yeah, for 5, 4, 3, 2, just stop pressing. Come forward. Yeah. Look at all that range you guys just got. Yeah. We're gonna do one more forward. So knee down and forward for 5. Keep the ribs going back. And just relax. And then one more with the foot. Inhale, exhale, relax. Now squeeze the glute. We're holding this for like 15 seconds. That's it. So we're at our end range. Other belly button back, fold over your ribs a little. Yeah. Is that more exciting? Yeah, good. A little bit more. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I was watching you in the mirror. Yeah. All right, now push yourself back. The only thing we're going to change is this back leg is like rotating. So now we're in like a little external rotation. Now squeeze the glutes forward, like we're doing the Michael Jackson. And then we're gonna bring ourselves forward. So now we're getting a little pectineus stretch, right? Pectineus is an inner thigh muscle. It can double as a hip flexor. It's very small, it's kind of hard to get. Yeah. So, anybody else feel like a superhero here? Well, hello. Yeah. You all should. Every single one of you absolutely should. Let's do the other side. Oh. Yeah. And so let's just get a little active stretch first to see. Yeah. Good. And maybe you're like, oh, this side is super easy. Maybe this side is more exciting. Right? Good. Last one. Bring yourself back. Tuck your tailbone, see about squeezing the glute to drive the pubic bone forward, folding over the ribs, right? It's a lot. I feel a lot of stretch. If your hip flexors are not as restricted, maybe you feel a little stretch, right? Yeah. Now just push down and forward with your knee. Start to light up for 5, 4, 3, 2, inhale. Exhale, relax the press. Maybe you get a little bit more range. Now push the foot down, right? Lighten up that quad, good, for 5, 4, you've got the look. 3, yeah, big breaths, 2, big inhale. Big exhale, relax, yeah. And then we get to do it again. Press down and forward so it's more hip flexor, flexor. And the reason we're doing hip flexor and quad is our rectus femoris doubles as a hip flexor. And then inhale, exhale, and press down for 5, 4, 3, 2, and good. Hold for a few seconds, that's it. Making sure that we're pulling ourselves into that as much of a posterior tilt as we can get, so it takes our origin and insertion points away from each other. Good, all right, we're gonna rotate. And we do the superhero, right? Good. Tuck your tailbone a little, yeah. And hopefully you feel like a superhero going throughout your day. Good. Just a couple more. Two. Last one. Nice job. All right. We're going to come back onto our back now. Laying all the way down. And now just see if maybe imprinting is a little easier. Maybe it's not 100% easier, but maybe it's 10% easier. Couple more. Last one. Good. Now, you can either just use your hands freely in space, or if you like hand weights, you can use those, or we can use the block in between our hands to get a little bit more core activation. So once again, we are scooping our shoulder blades, pressing in with our pinky fingers, letting the arms go overhead, and then squeeze the block, lift your head, reach your pinky fingers forward, and roll forward. Yeah, good. And just see, yeah, it was beautiful. If maybe you're able to peel, yeah, it's a little easier, right? Yeah. Maybe your spine just feels a little bit more mobile, or maybe you're not bringing as much tension. into the front of your hips. Right? Maybe you're able to press down into your feet more. Good. Use your breath. Yeah, nice job. Good, good. Now you can either stick with this or we can add on. All we're going to do is rotate to one side, roll down that side. Come back through center. Rotate to the other side. Roll down through that side. Notice how one side might feel a little different than the other, right? Yeah. Good. Now, how does one side feel in comparison to the other? Is one side a little bit easier? Or are they both just delightful in this same way? And two, last one. And then bring it all the way up. Good. Now you can either keep your legs extended or knees bent. It's up to you. And if you need to, you can always bring the ball behind you for a second. So I'll show a couple different options. So if your knees are bent, push them into the ground or push your feet into the ground. We're just rolling back until we touch the ball. Or you can bring the ball in between your inner thighs, or you can keep your legs extended. Okay. I'm going to be here today. And we just squeeze the block, rotate to one side, let the hands go to tap down, squeeze the block still, and then back, yeah. And then rotate, tap, squeeze. It is spicy, it's sneaky spicy, isn't it? Yeah. Good. Use your breath. And take a second where it's spicy, right? And squeeze the block a little more. See if you can make sure that both sides are evenly spiced, right? You don't want one that has all the turmeric and one that has all the cayenne, right? Yeah. Two more. Now, if this is where you are, amazing. If you're like, you know what, I've always wanted more work, you can bring the block behind your head, press into the block with your head, squeeze the block with your armpits, and then we rotate. Yeah. And rotate. Good. Couple more. Squeezing the ball. If it's in between your knees, we got one more each side. And come all the way up. Nice job. We're going to sit on the block if you want, or you can just sit crisscross applesauce. It's up to you. Yeah. So if you have any kind of tightness in your hips, feel free to sit on the block. Yeah. Now, first, we're just rotating to one side, seeing where our body goes. You can use your hands a little bit, but I'd like it to be more from your torso than your hands. And then just go to the other side. See what your body says, right? Maybe one side, you've got way more range. Maybe it's pretty even. Let's go to the first one. And then if you're helping yourself, that's fine, but inhale, exhale, see if you can keep the rotation while stopping helping yourself. Yeah, and then other side. So if you help yourself, great. And then see if you can maintain it without the bounce back, right? Yeah. One more each side. Nice. Coming back to center, we're going to bring the backs of our hands together as we round our back. And then open your collarbones, flip your palms up to the sky. Just a couple like this. A little bit of rounding. We rarely allow ourselves to internally rotate, right? We're always trying to counter desk posture with But sometimes we still need to be able to internally rotate, right? Last one. Nice job. Come onto all fours. Now, you can try taking a block or the ball and placing it on your low back just to help you kind of see what your body says, right? So if as you do this, like the block jumps off, that's okay. Slide one foot out, push it into the ground, and then fold it in, right? Other side. Don't be afraid to push into the ground from your hands, right? If this doesn't feel great on your wrists, you can always bring your hands to the ground. You can always be on your fists. Sometimes bringing your hands to the edge of the mat can help, as long as you're pressing through your pointer finger. Now maybe this feels really easy, in which case amazing. Now, instead of just lifting your hand, we're gonna slide one hand out, and then the hand isn't going to do anything. It will come along for the ride though. You're going to think of your shoulder blade posteriorly tipping, and that is why the hand comes up, and then back. Other side. It's shoulder blade moves, making the arm come with it. Good. Couple more. If that feels good and easy, then we can add on. In which case I would say, push the foot away as the arm comes up. Good. And once again, it's like you're reaching towards opposite walls and pushing them away rather than reaching up towards the sky, right? One more, each side. And then if it feels appropriate, you can come into a plank. Slide one foot out, other foot comes to meet it. Good. Now, you can bend one knee, reach it back, other side. Good. Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful, everybody. How does the block feel? Exciting, precarious? Yeah. Just gives us a little feedback, right? Last one, each side. Knees down. Press yourselves into your rest position. Yeah. Then hands up and over to one side. Press your hips away. And then other side. Good. Now, while we're here, we're going to get a little bit of rotation. So I'm going to show a couple angles. You can do this with or without the ball. We're going to take our hand, if you're using the ball, thread your other hand through and rest it on the ball. We're going to push the ball away as we rotate and then press into the ground to rotate back. Now, if you're not using the ball, you can slide your hand on the ground or just extend it. And we're just rotating through and coming back to center to start. Because we're passively rotating to see where our range is. And then when you come back, you can bring that elbow out to the side, palm down, hold, find your shoulder. And then if you want, keep your arm suction cupped in the socket. We're rotating from the ribs, yeah. And then we rotate again. And then back to center. Find your shoulder, find that connection. And then push. Good. Now the reason I'm suggesting finding the connection first is sometimes if we are trying to rotate and we're not getting the rotation through our rib cage, our shoulder is going to try to overwork to get us there, right? So finding shoulder activation and then core rib cage movement, yeah. And it's more ab work. Let's do the other side. So little rotation, good. We're just rotating back to center first, right? And rotate, seeing with that passive rotation, right? Gravity is helping us. Good. Beautiful, everybody. Now, if it's appropriate for you and your body, we can take it out to the side. Hold for a second, suction cupping the arm towards the torso, and then push into the other hand, try to rotate from the rib cage. And then we rotate passively. Does one side feel different than the other, right? Yeah, same. And maybe one side is tighter in your pec, right? And your pec has a tendency to be here. So maybe then it's harder to rotate because we need to be able to open and retract from that shoulder. Try when you take your arm out to the side to have like laser beams and then rotate with those laser beams. Yeah. And if you are able to find laser beams after potentially having a nice relaxed arm, it's going to be a little bit more informative. Nice job, you guys. Last one. And we come onto our side. Now, you can use this prop as a pillow when we have multiple props. So just for funsies, we're going to try something. So bring your legs to tabletop. We're going to place the block, foot, ankle, and shin. Now bring your leg to like in line with your hip bone. And then just see if you're able to reach it away, right? Yeah, it's hard. Yeah. And then fold it on in. First time I tried this, I dropped the block immediately, right? And then one of the cues it gives us is it lets us know if our foot is trying to lead the charge, right? So on my other side, for example, my foot likes to externally rotate. So it's really hard to keep the block on, right? And if you drop it a few times, it's fine. It's just information. Yeah. Good. Two more. Yeah. Last one, hold it out. Good. Now this one's going to be, I think, really hard not to drop it. You're just going to paintbrush the foot up a little bit and then bring it down. Yeah. Pushing the foot away. Yeah. Good. Nice. Good. How's this feeling, everybody? Yeah, yeah, same. Yeah. And two. Last one. Bring it back to center and tiny circles. Yeah. Making sure you're stirring from that upper thigh bone. Good. Good. Yeah. Two. And then we reverse. You guys are amazing. Every single one of you. And then bring the leg in. Good. Now we're going to take the block, pop it between your knees, but like sideways, yeah, and just squeeze the block. Just squeeze it. Everybody feel those inner thighs kicking on? Squeeze it even more with that top leg and just lift the leg to neutral. Yeah, and then slowly let it come out. Squeeze it, let it come to neutral. Now, if you bring it into internal rotation, it's not the end of the world, but try to find it through inner thigh rather than front pocket of the hip. Now, if you're like, okay, but I'd like more with my external rotation, you can always bring it to the French fry container. Look, yeah. 2. Last 1. Good. And then we get to go to the other side. I think we need easy ways to discuss where we have the block. I'm like, French fry container, the burger, but like, what's the rest of it? So bring yourself to that kind of 90-90. Widen through your sits bones. Let your foot come up. Now, if your foot is flexed, if it likes to externally rotate, chances are the block is going to fall. So it's okay to let your foot be kind of like floppy, right? Push the foot away. Oh, I can already tell this is the side. My block is going to fall. Don't know when, but soon. Good. Reach it away. Yep. Let it fold in. Yeah. Good. Yeah. You guys, you all look so good. How does this side feel in comparison to the other side? Easier? Harder? Ugh. Same. Like, one of the things that I think is kind of cool about it is it forces us to go a tiny bit slower, and it forces us to kind of be aware of what our body does through the whole range of motion, right? Exactly. 2, I'm gonna pretend I still have mine on. Last one, hold it out, and then just slowly bring it up a little and back down. Yeah, the foot has a lot to do with everything. It's kind of crazy, like how much it affects everything up the chain. 3, 2, last 1, tiny little circles, right? 5, 4, 2, and then little baby circles the other way. Still trying to find that nice long spine on both sides. 3, 2, 1, and we're gonna bring the block in between our knees. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze the block and see if you can bring it to neutral, right? While still squeezing. And then let the foot come down. Squeeze. Trying to keep the front pocket of the hip as out of it as possible, right? Maybe you need to tuck and extend a couple times. And if you're like, I'd like a little bit more external rotation, you can always bring it to the longer. Good. Just a few more. 3. And notice if your foot is trying to lead the charge, right? 2. Last 1. Nice job. We're coming onto our stomach real quickly. Now, if you need the block or ball underneath your forehead, go for it. If you don't, that's fine too. Now think about pubic bone being slightly heavier than hip bones. Bring your hands behind you. Now let your elbows just relax down to the ground. And then think about your posterior shoulders to bring them back. We don't need them really wide, or like we don't need to try to fly away and bring the elbows up. And then down, and then bring them up to neutral. 2. Last one. Now, reach your hands down towards your feet. Flip them so your palms start to face down and then face each other. And you can potentially try to bring them together, giving yourself a high five. And then sweep them down. Reach them towards your feet. Let them come together. Elbows come in. Back. Reach. Maybe the hands stay on the ground. Right? No problem. Like you're making a snow angel. Maybe they feel good and they stay elevated. It's up to you. One more. Bring your hands to the ground in front of you, suction cup them, draw your shoulder blades down. Push your hands into the ground, open your collarbones forward. Yeah. Now push more into one hand, squeeze the opposite glute. Yeah. And back and forth. Now, we're just trying to find what our body says, right? Using your abs to keep your spine as stable as possible, right? Now, if you want, opposite arm and leg. One more each side. Good. Press yourselves into your rest position. Good. Hands up and over. Push your hips away. Gorgeous. We're going to come to standing after we do the other side. So if you can come through a downward dog, great, do. If you can't, that's okay. You can always just come up in a position that feels good. If you've got the yoga block, let's go ahead and stand on it. So if you have really long feet, you can put both of your yoga blocks together. I'm just going to bring one foot on top. Good. And just so you guys know, if you're on the block, it's already an unstable surface and the mat is an unstable surface. So just be aware. If your foot starts like do and you feel like you're going to fall, just come off of it immediately. Now, before we do anything, just find this glute. We're going to push down into our foot, lift our arch, and then float the other foot. Yeah. And maybe this is where you are. Maybe you're like, okay, cool, I got this. And you're going to lower the hip without totally kicking it out to the side. Push into the foot, lift your arch, find your abs, right? Relax your side a little bit more. So it's coming to here as opposed to like here. Yeah. Huh? Yeah, good. And then press, finding neutral. Gorgeous, everybody. Yeah. Couple more. If I had like stickers, I would absolutely offer stickers for who can tell me what this is important for. Walking, gait pattern, which sounds crazy, but our pelvis is supposed to kind of be able to like move and stay stable, right? As opposed to like the big old drop. Now, all we're gonna do is as this hip lowers a little bit, we're gonna rotate towards that front side, press, rotate away. Yep. Yeah, it's more exciting, I know. Yeah, like noodles, except he has 3. Yeah. Good. Last one. And then I have wonderful, like wonderful news. Other side. So I like to flip the block over so you're not already fighting with the indention. Now the good news is this side might feel really different. Before we lift the foot, push down, find your arch, see if you can find gluten inner thigh. Hold, oh, this one side is very exciting for me, right? So maybe it takes a second, right? Maybe you're like, I got this. And then you can slide and come up. Now, if you're like, I just can't find center on this side, touch a wall, right? Or a couch, yeah. Couple more. You can always keep the toe down if you need to, right? And 2. Last one. And then we can add rotation, right? So we rotate, and then rotate. Yeah. And rotate, and rotate. Right. 2. Last 1. Nice job, you guys. Come on off of there. We're just going to end with a little roll down. Nod your chin, hollow out through the front of your body. Roll it all the way down. Letting your back relax, letting your hips relax, pelvis rotate, and gently nod your chin. Yes. You glad you got a little movement today? Absolutely. And shake your head no. Do you have any regrets? Nod your head yes. Are you going to have an awesome rest of your day? You guys, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. We're going to roll it on up, letting the arms dangle. Think about extending through your ears. Flip your palms to the sky. Open your collarbones. And give yourselves a round of applause. Nice work today. Thank you so much for joining me. You guys are amazing. Nice work. Thank you.